Hey, welcome back. Now we drive. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I am so overwhelmed. Before we get on to today's video, I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of support, the really nice comments. I've just been bowled over and I can't thank you enough. It's been obviously in these very dark times. I love doing them and it's great to see that there's an audience. So thank you so much for the support and long may it continue. And it just drives me on to do more and more, to try and think a little bit outside the box. Not so much today, but going forward, I'm really going to try hard to bring you some content that's worthy of your time. So yeah, thank you so much. So on today's video, we have got a huge amount of cars in my watch list and we'll go over a handful of them. So we'll take a little bit of a deep dive into all of the resources that we've highlighted in my previous videos. But some we won't look at because maybe the prices are too high, but I thought it was worthwhile having them on the screen purely for a point of reference, because I can keep an eye on, is that a car I might be interested in the future? What kind of money is it going through at? Just to give me a bit of a barometer, because this is the kind of stuff you won't find anywhere else. AutoAuctions.io is not going to give it to you. Copart are not going to give you any historic data. So you have to, keep your eyes very much on the prize, keep them peeled, as Shaw Taylor used to say. It's really tough. You'll see with 6 different lanes open at the same time. Now, of course, you've got your watch cars, but when you've got 6 things going on at the same time, it's like, I don't know if anyone's played online poker. I played quite a bit of it, or did back in the day. It's like having 6 tables up, your eyes are all over the place. It's quite fun, but sometimes you do tend to miss a little bit of the action. And that's why I like to screen share it and show it in a video that we can go over in a bit more detail and going through my thought process for these videos. So that's what I'd like to do today. Quite a few to go over. A few I didn't bother capturing on screen because the price had got a little bit too high and I just thought, you know what, there's no point. But I can assure you, we get close, and maybe one, who knows? But we get close on a couple. But yeah, let's dive straight in, shall we? And let's have a look at my watch list and see how we get on. So here we go with my watch list. First up was this Fiat 500. I really love the colour. That's what really got my eye. And a nice colour combo, low mileage, but you know what? I've had a couple of these Fiat 500s and they're just tough to sell. They really are tough to sell. This was at 1250, and it was, with the rear and front damage, two bumpers, rear and front, lights and everything. I thought, you know what? It's just not worth the hassle. I'd have paid probably 1,000, maybe 1,200 quid. Yeah, it was just a little bit too much. And as you can see, watch the bidding. Even if you paid £1,200 for it, out of the door, 15, delivered 1,800, you'd struggle to get £2,000 for this being a Cat S. You really would. Even though it's a sport, you'd still struggle. So I decided to give this one a bit of a wide berth. Now, one that I came across purely by chance the other day, which was this Nissan 370Z. Now, again, I really like the colour, and I was looking at it thinking, boy, this is cheap. I had a quick look on AutoAuction.io, as I normally do. That didn't return any other issues, and as you can see, the kind of money they were going for was varied quite a lot, anywhere between, as you can see with this one, 3,600, right up to £9,000-10,000, and I was like, that's interesting. Okay, let's take a closer look. Let's try and figure out why it's so cheap. Let's have a quick look at DVLA, see if that brings up anything untoward. No, which is good. Again, 30th of January 19, a good last V5 change date. Didn't erupt any red flags with me just there. Said a year's worth of MOT, super low mileage, really low mileage. But there was one thing that was really bothering me. And now, it wasn't the damage, not at all. But there's one thing that, given you can't go and see these cars and it was wasn't a run and drive, nor was it an engine start program. Where's the picture of the engine? Why can't they lift the bonnet up? Who knows what's under there? Now, all right, previous category D-loss, I can handle that. But why didn't they lift up the bonnet? You could have lifted it up and it could have been nothing there, literally nothing. Or, you know, the top of the engine's been ripped out. Say if it was a previously modified car and there was enhanced turbochargers on there, or a new head or intake manifold, and then it was removed. So I had a quick look and see how much a Nissan 370Z GT engine was out of eBay, and you was looking at about £4,000. And I thought, you know what, do I want to be getting into an engine swap for a car that's probably worth no more than 6, maybe 7 for a 2012 plate? It's a shame. Really like these cars, and we could have had so much fun with it as far as making it into a 400-500 brake horsepower absolute animal. And yeah, it transpired that I decided not to take this 370Z any further. Another car on my watch list was a category unrecorded 2010 Audi. I've been looking at quite a number of convertibles, just to, you know, I think maybe the sunshine outside and the lack of air we've been getting during the lockup. It's got me looking at a lot of rag tops, and this was one of them. It was very much on the periphery for me. It wasn't something that was really, should we say, baking my noodle. It was a little bit older than I wanted, and what fun would it have been for the channel? Not much really, because there wasn't much wrong with it. And generally, you can pick these up, a 10 plate, for about £5,000. That's non-category car. So, you know, how much would we want to pay for this? Not much more, over probably £3,000. Now, I know this might seem a little left field, having a BMW i3 in my list, but having an electric car to work on really excited me for a number of different reasons. Purely based on the fact that, one, I've never done one, and two, you know, from a green perspective, I think, you know, one, I'll be doing me a bit for the planet, keeping a nice electric car on the road, but also might find I actually like driving an electric car. I've only been in a few in my time, but every time I've been in one, a Tesla and the I-Pace Jaguar, I've been suitably impressed. Now, I had a quick look on autoauctions.io. There were similar ones going for, had gone for anywhere between 5 and 10. This was a 65 plate, and I decided that even as a retailable car, I probably could get somewhere around 9.5 to 10k for it, fully repaired. So, funny enough, I sent a few emails around. There were some doors available and and a front wing and a front bumper. So that was all fine, and it wasn't going to cost a lot to repair. The engine management light was on, but given it's only got like a 600cc engine on top of his electric motors, you would have imagined it wouldn't be too difficult to repair. Yep, all tallies up. Long MOT, obviously it's only just had a crash, given it was only MOT'd in December. So, yeah, 7.5 was my top price I put down, given that I was going to have to spend somewhere in the region of £1,000 on it, and it could retail maybe 1,500, giving you about £1,000 profit, and that's the best case scenario. We've set our benchmark at maximum bid of 7,500. So As you can see, I've decided to take a bit of a back step to see how these guys fight it out, but there's obviously a few other people interested in this particular item. So I wanted to see just whereabouts their limit was. As you can see, it's getting quite close to my limit. I like to wait. When there's been this many bids, you usually get a situation of at least 2 or 3 bonus times. So I was just to see if there was any late action. Yeah. It was close. I think my estimates were about right. 7,500 was about the right money for it, given that you could retail it at about 10. But yeah, I'd have to just let this one go, unfortunately. It would have been a fun car to work on. It wouldn't have been a huge amount of effort or time on my behalf because the damage was pretty minor. Now here's a car that I'd highlighted as my probably top target of the day. It was a really nice, really clean S-Line A3 Audi automatic convertible. Decent mileage, very low mileage in fact, and one that I thought would be an interesting one for the channel, but moreover a really nice car to own and keep for a period of time during the summer. I know the wife, we used to have an S3 convertible actually, and it was very nice to drive, and it was good fun for 5 to 6 months. So again, let's have a quick look at what Auto Trader says about the car. Put the details in, let's have a look. Okay, 2 owners, fantastic. Extras were pretty extensive, being the S-Line. Let's take a dive in to have a look at the car as per what Copart says. As you can see, the damage is pretty much all on the front end. It's got, all on the rear. It's got new. It's going to need a new bumper and a new rear boot lid. Plus, it's going to need to be pulled out. Which, looking at that, it doesn't look that extensive. You'll be able to pull that out pretty easily, even if you have to weld in a new tray and plate. It shouldn't be that expensive. The only worry would be if any of the convertible hood mechanism has been broken, but it doesn't look like it's been pushed in that much really, because that boot lid would have been much deeper into the car if that was the case. So having a quick look on eBay, you can see that they're retailing for, and some of these they're not S-Lines, these are just pretty much basic A3 cabs, maybe SEs and manual as well, which makes a big difference in price actually, manual to auto. But you'd imagine anywhere between 12 and 14. So yeah, I estimate that the price I was going to go up to was about 6.5. That seems like the right kind of money. Winning, winning, winning. Wait for the bonus time. And because there was very little action on there, I won it. So straight onto eBay to have a look around for boot lids and the like. And there are lots on there for convertibles, white ones as well. So that kind of tells me that fixing this, besides pulling it out, which I'm going to have to take to obviously a specialist body shop, should be pretty straightforward. That boot lid's 80 quid. It looks in really, really good nick. So you'd imagine 100 quid for the boot lid, and about 1 to 150 for the rear bumper, and the front bumper might need replacing as well. So there you go, another day on Copart going through the watch list. Subsequently, I've got the information back from Copart. You saw my winning bid. They offered another 1,100 on top. I immediately batted it back, and I'm awaiting the seller response. But I think, honestly, that's a cracking buy. That retails all day long. Well, you see what it retails for. I did a little bit of homework on it on eBay. But I think as long as there's nothing else untoward with that car, I think I've picked up an absolute blinder. And one that I'm sure we'll be able to keep for a little while the sun's out. Driving it around with a convertible would be lovely. There's 7 or 8 tomorrow and about 6 on Thursday, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you. So thank you so much for joining us here again on Now We Drive. Like I said at the start, I'm just bowled over by the amount of support and views and everything I get from you guys. I wake up in the morning, look at my YouTube feedback, I just love it. It's great, it's great. And as I said, long may it continue. But stay safe. Hopefully you and your families are all good. And we all get through this pretty bizarre times together. Hopefully we're seeing the end of this, this peak. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But thank you so much for joining us here again on Now We Drive. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.